and welcome to the WeighPay group. In this video, we're going to take a look at our online back office known as WeighPayEnterprise.com. In this video, we're going to kind of take a look at some real high-level stuff. There's quite a bit of software here, and we want to try to keep this video as short as we can. So obviously, it's an account-based system, so I can go look at all my accounts, my business accounts, retail accounts, suppliers, customers, haulers, processors, internal accounts. So you have all of the functionality to go look at all your accounts. If I were to click on all my accounts, you can see the different number of accounts that we already have on our system, on our dashboard. And we can simply populate one of these accounts if we want to take a look at kind of how deep does each account go and what is the capability from an account-based management perspective. And so as we pull in this data, there's quite a bit of data on this account. We can see by the high-level dashboard that we've got an open balance, we've got remaining credits, we've got first ticket, last tickets, unpaid tickets, paid tickets, and so you can see how many open contracts we have, how many open work orders we have with this customer. We have an account scoring system. This account has had 71 scores and is a 3.71 account, and you can see how much ferrous or non-ferrous we brought in from this company. Down below, you can see all the transactions, all the transaction types. We can open up those tickets. We can reprint those tickets. Quite a bit of capabilities in the system for us to print and receive and look at those transactions that you can see on the screen. And then, of course, we've got our filter set should we need to start filtering the transaction set that we're seeing here. We can, of course, go into account details. This tells us when the account was created. What kind of an account is it? This is both a customer and a supplier. We can look at any of the business details. We can look at anything such as print on check, account manager, customer codes, tax IDs, etc. We can look at any contacts that are on here. So it's a full contact database as well with integrated phone and email links so that if you're looking at this on your phone or your tablet, you have full access to contact your customers immediately from our system. And of course, I can go look at service locations. Now, service locations can also be known as jobs and or addresses in which you're going to conduct business from or to. So you can see over here that you can do business with this address. I can ship to it or receive from it. This one I can ship to it. This one I can ship from it. And so you can see here that I've got my froms and my tos, and I've got my Google map is telling me how many miles away and how many hours away this address is from my current headquarters or my current business that I've got selected. Any vehicles that may be on file from this and any product aliases that may be here. And product alias is pretty simple, is that my system might call it this, but this customer prefers that I call it that on a invoice or a bill. So if I go to my settings, it can start to get a little bit deeper. We can get into sales categories, tax item codes, regions and sub-regions, chargebacks, milk run rates, a lot of feature function here. We can involve them in mass pay runs. We can choose what price board they're on, and so there's quite a bit, and we know that their payment preference is via check, or we have all the other payment preferences should you want to have those. And we are in the process of beginning our ACH electronic payments for both routing and credit card billing as well, and we'll get into some card pay here in a second. But under settings, you can see that there's quite a bit of functionality to identify this customer, identify their credit limits, and or even their customer category in the system. We can go over look at available work orders for this account if we have any available work orders. In total, these are their total work orders that they've been involved in. And then, of course, I can filter through and look for any available work orders that might be there. And so if I go maybe back a few days, we can see in the data set whether we had any old work orders that are being filled. So you can see the work orders. You can see this one was completed, this one was completed, and this one is in progress right now. And the truck is on the way to the service location. So you can see throughout the system the available work orders, dispatch orders that are against this account, this AAA company account that you can see here. This would be any of our assets that might be located at that service location. So you can see here not only statuses, whether it's en route to the service location or whether it's at the service location. You can see what work order it went on and what was the last service date for that asset. We can get into contracts, and we can track fulfillments against that contract. So this contract's had 44 fulfillments, and we can see the contracted weight, the rate, the total filled weight, filled dollars, remaining, valid from, valid tos. So all of our full contract management. We can get into any price sheets. These would be one-off prices that maybe we've given them, or known as a spot price or a quote. So we have a full quoting system built into the system so that we can set date-ranged quotes for specific product, for specific pricing, and that can be done by any unit of measure, pound, gross ton, etc. We can get into formula-based pricing. Right now I don't have any formulas that are active, but if I were to go back and click on any inactive ones, I could look at any previously enacted formula prices, and then I could reactivate them by changing the valid date on this if I wanted to reactivate this from a previous formula. So again, everything is date ranged expired, but I could go in and edit that and change it. The base board that this customer is on right now, you can see that this customer has access to all 6 of these locations. So this customer is going to have 6 price boards because they can have a different price for delivery to each location, depending on the region that they're in, whether it's a feeder yard or whether it's a hub, such as a shredder yard in the scrap metal business. And then you can see here that we have a full sheet, and if I have any, you can see here I've got a spot price right here. That's the explanation on the board, and so we did an override of the default price and gave them a spot price or a quoted price. And you can see there's another one for dirty cast aluminum. We've given them a spot price, and so this board is of course absorbed into the scale application, and the scale application, just at a high level, is this scale application here that I'm referring to. That all of the customers, prices, products, contracts, work orders are all stored locally in that scale application should there be a need for offline mode, but we do utilize that information even in online mode. So I can print this price list, I can email this price list if I need to. We can get into any tier pricing. Again, looks like my tier pricing is expired for this account, but I'm going to go ahead and show you any inactive or expired tier pricing, and it's going to show us that we do have some tiers already set up for batteries, for copper, for aluminum cans, aluminum rims. We have multiple tiers that could be set up with expiration dates. And of course, for tiers and contracts, you can use both formula pricing and tier pricing in those. If there was any freight rates involved, we have a full freight engine, whether it's by the miles, whether it's by the hours, and so you can get very specific with servicing specific locations, or just have a freight rate that could service any location. If this company was also a hauler, we get into surcharges and dead freight. Provisional pricing, just kind of a hold on pricing while you wait for your mill pricing to come in. Any associated accounts that they might be affiliated with, any bills that are outstanding. So you can see AR and AP bills here. Any payments that have been made to this company. We need to change probably our date range, because I know I've got payments there, but not within the last 30 days, because you'll notice the system is set 6/1 to 7/1, and today's 7/1, which is why you're not seeing anything in my database. But if I were to clear back to here and apply that, then we might pick up a few bills if there were any in the last few days of the month. So the whole system is set up to give us that ability, and looks like I didn't have any in the last few days of the month that I chose. We also can hold forms, Mercury forms, CFC forms, and then we get a full card pay system. As I mentioned before, we can issue unpersonalized cards, virtual cards, and we have a full card-based system where you can issue credit cards to your customer, and then you can, or your suppliers, and then you can load those cards through scale transactions. So pretty simple, and again, the system is designed to allow us to see a full account-based management system. And again, we can get into billing, payments, checks, cash drawers. We can get into contracts, whether we have a purchase contract, sales contracts, POs, SOs, hauler contracts, and or quotes. And then we can get into our logistics, which is a full logistics system, which has our active work orders. We can go to all of our schedules, our dock schedule. This would be our yard scheduler for any inbound, outbound activities. That's all on that. We can look at any containers in our container inventory. We can look at our vehicle or truck inventories. And then we can go look at any of our internal haulers, should we have our own trucks. We can look at third-party haulers, should we have any third-party haulers. And we can create freight quotes as well that are associated with all of our dispatch systems. So if I go to internal haulers, for instance, we can go look to see if we have any of our own trucks. And you can see here that if I highlight this load. Let me get it so we can see it on the screen. You can see that this is an outbound load, which is why it's red. Everything in our system is color coded, outbound red, green is inbound, but you can see it's a full system with a full audit trail, and I can fully edit. And so these here, of course, can be dragged to any date range, and so you can see I have unassigned. So a typical dispatcher may see this in a daily view, and they may see their current loads in their daily view. And again, this can be moved to however you need to move it to reassign it should that driver be unavailable. The work orders themselves, the work order form has service types such as drops, swaps, pickups, milk runs. So if you have a milk run drop where we're going to go out and drop a bunch of containers, we can go out and do a milk run swap where we're picking up heavies and bringing back, or delivering empties and bringing back fulls. Or we can just say we're done with that, go pick up a bunch of, if we're servicing multiple accounts, we can go do that brokerage and multi-yard fulfillment for sales if we're picking up from multiple facilities on a sales load. So the system has quite a bit of functionality, and there's logic built into every one of those that changes the form, changes what's the required fields that we need to have. And so, for instance, I can go and say this is a straight load. I can say that I've got a purchase contract, let's say, for this company, and it'll preload my system for me. I can choose an internal driver should I need to choose an internal driver, or I can choose one of my existing drivers that I already have. And so you can see how it assigns the driver and the truck, because the trucks are connected to the driver if that driver was already assigned to this truck. And so quite a bit of functionality. You can make it recurring. You can require image capture, require signature capture, and then here if I needed to make this a recurring or a repeat, I can have this repeat as many times as I need to today, or I can set it up to repeat the same time every day I'm on Monday. If it's a repeat pickup or a swap type of order, you have your full order, and then of course I can then choose to drop that on my calendar, and then that would drop on, you'll notice that I'm on Monday and today is Saturday, so I would need to pick that up and go back to my Saturday date, which would be the 1st, which I probably have my system set. There's this inbound load right here that I just created, and so you can see here that it's sitting under my driver that I've already assigned it. It's already got a contract assigned to it. So the system is a full dispatch system with drivers, assets, driver fulfillments, clear across. So it's a very complete system as it comes to our logistics. And then of course the pricing system is a multi-tier cross-reference price board system. If I get into my purchase pricing, we have price boards. We can update an existing board, change any rejected pricing that your commercial team might have rejected anything, supplier specific formula pricing, tier pricing. We can have mass price updates for our tiers. Should we have, let's say, 100 customers all using the same tiers, or maybe our entire customer base is using the same tiers. And so historical boards and price board history. So this shows you what happened in your pricing system and when things changed. We use an Excel-like controls, so it makes it really easy to update your pricing super fast that we can see here. So let's go back over to pricing, and then under our inventory, you can see that we have inventory positioning, real-time inventory movement. So if I go here, you can see my on-hand inventory, my in-transit inventory, my WIP and finished good tags, and any of my sold inventory can all be inventory positioning. Is a page that we're allowed that we can go in and see how many purchases, how many regrades, how many production movements, if there's any transfers, any adjustments, or any sales within a certain order. And so obviously because today's the 1st, we're pulling 7/1 to 7/1, and so let's go back and just pull maybe from June 1 and let our board update. And if we go back to here, you can see that we've had some regrades, we've had some sales in this. And so if I click on aluminum, I can see the entire group. If I click on the individual commodity, aluminum dirty cast, I then see my instant real-time positioning. So this is how many purchases, what was my before and after, how many regrades, my before and after, did I have regrades coming in or regrades going out. So you can see here any productions, transfers, adjustments, or any sales coming in or going out, and then what's my ending values and my ending averages. So you can see here that I have a 28-cent delta in this date range that I've chosen, and then I can see the historical when these transactions hit, on which date, which time did these transactions hit my database. So I have a full inventory positioning system that allows us to see inventory in real time as it's impacted. So that's an important factor. When I go to inventory movements, you can see pile to pile, production movements, miscellaneous adjustments, cycle counts, physical counts, and then what we did is created templates for your production movements and your pile to pile, so it makes it real easy. Put your input weights in. If you've got a template, it automatically knows your outputs and knows how to allocate the cost and or the waste involved in those inventory movements. So we can get into our marketing platform, which we deal with text message marketing, email marketing, and we can see that email log of all of our email marketing campaigns. And of course, we can get into our analytics, which is having a full analytics dashboard showing us a bunch of different charts and graphs that you would expect in an enterprise system. And so that's important for us to see. And then if we go back to our navigational menu, we can go into our transactions. So this is the heart and soul of our system, is the ability to have our business transactions, retail transactions, or internal transactions. And one of the things that's really important about our internal transactions is if I go to this one here that you can see has been paid, or we have an adjustment ticket, we use a parent-child system. So you can see 6751 was the parent-child. It was adjusted to create a child transaction. So here I had a ticket come in without freight, and I went and created an adjustment ticket and added my freight in so that it impacted my inventory. So you can see here that I've got my APs and my ARs, and of course I can print these. I can get into the details of the ticket, or I can just simply click on that. It's going to then open up my on-screen version in the back office. So this is fully functional. Should you need to use this as a ticketing system, it is absolutely fully functional. But we can go here and we can see all of the details of a ticket. So you can see, did it come from a work order? Are there any related ARs, any related APs, any additional bills, any service bills? So you can see this one had a related service bill. That means that there's a H, so that's a hauler bill. So this was the one that I created the hauler bill on. So I can get into my ticket items. You can see what the items were. You can see what the images are, and I can see any additional information such as freight or freight chargebacks against this line item. So it's it's an enterprise solution. I can add supplier scores. I can add hauler scores. If I want to rate my supplier and the quality of the product, if I want to rate my hauler and the quality of his run, the timeliness of his run, etc. So you can customize your scoring system. And then most importantly, we can get into our audit field. And so this shows you how many editors, how many edits, how many ads, how many suppliers, how many bills that were created, how many images were attached, etc. And then down below, you can see everything for this ticket, and you can see previous values, new values throughout the entire system. And so full audit system, including the freight separated from any of the rest of the information. So kind of the last bit to show you before we sign off this very long video is to kind of get into our inventory. And if we go into our inventory, just as a quick sneak peek, I don't want to spend too much time getting into our inventory, but our inventory has, of course, all of our products. You can see all of our different statuses. Should I expand this from prepared, unprepared, tagged, sold, in transit, etc. And you can see that we've parsed some of these out. So now I'm looking at my tagged inventory, and you can see I can look at all my tagged images that are sitting here. How long has that tag been on? What's the tag number? It's been here 242 days. I haven't sold it yet. That's how long it's been here. I can look at my on-hand inventory. I can separate that between ferrous and non-ferrous and or any other products that I might have in my system. I can go to my in-transit. So these in-transit means these are on the road. So typically we're going to track your ship dates, your contract dates, any tickets, any haulers, etc. You'll be able to see that in both ferrous and or non-ferrous loads. And then, of course, any sold inventory that you might have sold during the date range. Again, I probably need to modify my date range. maybe do these videos at the end of the month instead of the first, but kind of gives us a good idea. So I've kind of saved our last feature, which is one of our best features, for last, and that is our global search. Our global search, if I just simply maybe put in, if I'm looking for something from AAA, it's then going to show me, are you looking for AAA tire, AAA process, or AAA hauler? These are my demo accounts, obviously. And then I can look at tickets, bills associated with those. I can go look at the accounts. I can look at any bills, any contracts, any payments, any tickets, any work orders associated with AAA. Now I can narrow that down, obviously. I can look globally throughout the entire world. I can look through any regions, sub-regions. So the system is set up to run globally located companies that may deal in different states, different regions, and then have different locations within those regions. So the entire database gives you the ability to really narrow your search or expand your search between date ranges and obviously regions and sub-regions. And so to be able to go into an account, I can then click in the account. If I want to go look at a bill, I can find that bill and go look at this bill that was created on this date for this amount. So that's our global search feature that allows you to run your business, run your global business from anywhere in the world on any internet device. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and remember, WeighPay. So advanced, it's simple.